Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237. Come at you with another zombie film. I've only got a few more left after this. I'm getting down to it. And now we're coming to one of my favorite ones. This one is absolutely great. It's a remake. It's a post-2003 remake. So when I do my remake marathon, it's another one I won't have to do, even though I do love it. That is Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder's 2004 film. Actually, his debut film. This is just a kick-ass remake. I remember when it came out, it did well. Everyone loved it. People still really like it. You know, I'm sure when it was coming out, people were like, "How dare you remake Dawn of the Dead? That's sacrilege." But Zack Snyder, of all people, actually did a fantastic job. This is my favorite Zack Snyder film. One of two that I like, the other one being Watchmen. Yeah, I'm not a fan of his DCEU films. Hate me if you want. I know you're not allowed to not like Zack Snyder, and if you don't, then you don't read comics, but I'm not getting into that in this video. And Dawn of the Dead, it takes what it needs from the original, but it really does stand on its own as its own movie. And, you know, pretty much all it takes is the people in the mall. That's really all it takes from the original. Totally different group of characters, more characters. There's no bikers. It definitely changed the zombies around. You know, by this time, in 2004, 28 Days Later had already come out. So, running infected zombies was already out. And this movie is sort of in the middle of the big debate of undead and infected. It sort of meets in the middle because it is a virus. You know, if you get bitten or get the blood or saliva in you or anything, then you're infected. But it kills you first. So technically you are dead. And, you know, this one definitely is more a cinematic than the original. You know, the original was a very low budget, shoot from the hip, kind of a wing it kind of movie. This one is definitely more Hollywood. You know, it kind of opens up with someone and their day-to-day life, and then overnight this thing happens. And, you know, Sarah Polley is our lead. I can't remember her character's name. She's a nurse. She's had a long day. She goes home. Her husband or boyfriend is, he was in Saw 4. They wake up and the neighbor girl comes in and her face is all fucked up, bites him. He quickly becomes a zombie, and then, you know, when she gets outside, I really like the look of it. It's like this wide shot panning of like suburbia neighborhood with just chaos going on everywhere. When she drives off, I love the shot. It shows her car pulling out and then like the zombie like running around the car and then like chasing after her. And these zombies don't give up. Like 28 days later, they kind of stop after a while and stand there. These ones just go. Like she's driving and then like her boyfriend zombie like sees someone else and goes after him. Then we get the opening credits, which since this is a Zack Snyder film, we get an old song. And this one, I think it's called When the Man Comes Around by Johnny Cash. You know, she wakes up on her airbag. She's found by Ving Rhames, who's a cop. I think his character is somewhat inspired by the Ken Foree Peter character in the original. You know, then they come across this other guy who's with Mekhi Phifer and his pregnant wife. They make it to this big mall. They go inside. At first, there's these 3 security guards. I can't remember who plays CJ, the older one. But then there's like 2 teenagers, one of which was like the neighbor kid from Werewolf of Fever Swamp and Goosebumps. Then the other kid, he's been in a bunch of stuff. He was in Wrong Turn, which actually, the sort of girl, his love interest in this, they were a couple in the beginning of the first Wrong Turn. So at first the security guards kind of want to take their weapons and kind of keep them prisoner or something, like let them stay there, but they can't do what they want. Then they're up on the roof and there's this big truck coming in. They overtake the security guards and take their guns, and it's a truck full of people. They let all the people in. I mean, there's like Matt Frewer with his daughter, who's the one that gets with the other security guard. This one older guy with his soon-to-be zombie wife. He's carrying her in a wheelbarrow. This redneck guy who's been in a few zombie films. He's been in a couple George Romero ones. Ty Burrel he plays Phil Dunphy in Modern Family. He's a fucking asshole in this movie, but I like him. Who else is there? Is that it? Oh, and then there's like the woman that was driving the truck. And then Ty Burrell's looks like a stripper girlfriend. But anyway, so they're all in the mall, and from there you get a little montage like in the original of life in the mall when you have it to yourself and you can do whatever you want. Which in this one you get like a ballroom rendition of Disturbed's Down with the Sickness, which is pretty cool. There's a gun shop across the way, Andy's gun shop. And through like whiteboards and binoculars, they communicate with each other. Ken, which is Ving Rhames' character, they play board games with each other. Then after that montage, there's this other game they play. They don't really say the name of it, but they hold up the whiteboard with the celebrity's name. Then he has to find the zombie that looks like that celebrity and shoot him, see if he gets the right one. So just a lot of inventive stuff. And, like the look of the zombies are fucking great. It's sort of a mixture of like 28 Days Later and actually not really much of like the Romero ones. But they look more like 28 Days Later, usually bloody, their eyes are fucked up. They do learn that bites is how it spreads because they have to kill Matt Frewer. They wait for him to die, then they shoot him. Actually, after they shoot him is when the montage happens. They find out that help's not coming and they're stranded, so they decide to reinforce these buses. Like completely reinforce them. Somehow they get a plow on there. I don't know how they did that, but they do. And put like razor wire and like siding and like slits in the windows so they can get chainsaws. Andy tells them that he's hungry, so they send the girl's dog down. Which they don't go after the dog at all. Like they give him some food and a walkie. Over the walkie, you find out he gets bit. But of course, the girl's an idiot and worries about her dog, so she gets in the truck and goes over there. So they go through the sewers to get her and fucks everything up. Oh, but when they're making the buses, you can find it on YouTube. I thought it was like an actual song, But the music is done by Tyler Bates. And it's an old traditional folk song called Hangman Song. But it's like this modern version. If you look up Dawn of the Dead Hangman Song, it's actually a really great song. I really like it. That's when they're building the, reinforcing the buses. And because, Steve, who is Ty Burrell, the asshole, he sort of sarcastically suggests that they get on his big boat and just go to this island that's apparently zombie deserted. So that's why they make the buses, so they can get to the harbor. And they have all these great ideas, like they can't drive through the zombies, so they get like these propane tanks with flares and they shoot them, and it's very gory. Just know how much of an asshole Ty Burrell is. The bus he's in flips over, and like Ving Rhames is strapped in, he's like reaching for him, he just leaves him. Doesn't work out for him. But they finally get to the harbor. You find out that the sort of male lead that Sarah Polley was going to get with was bitten. And you have like the Hollywood goodbye, like when he shows his arm. She's like, well, you can come with us until then. He's like, no, I think I'm just going to stay here. Watch the sunset. Very corny, like Hollywood stuff. But it's Hollywood, so you have to put that stupid shit in there. And then as the boat sails off, you see that he shoots himself. And they find Steve's camera. He likes to film himself, because during the montage, he's fucking his girlfriend, and he does like this American Psycho, like, remote click on this camcorder. So they find one of his cameras, and over the end credits, we see like footage. You find out during those end credit scenes, like the boat blows, they're sort of stranded. And then they make it to this island, which this takes place in, I think, like someplace in Michigan, I think. So they make it to this island. It's somewhere near Michigan, in one of the Great Lakes, which is not a tropical environment. So they make it to this island where there's palm trees, and just swarms of zombies come out and kills everyone. I don't know if that was like a nod to Lucio Fulci's Zombie, which was the unofficial sequel to the original Dawn of the Dead, the Italian sequel. Where they go to a tropical island where there's zombies, but then when as they're going back to New York, you find out that's been overrun the whole time. I don't know if that's a nod or a reference. I could be looking too much into that. Also, I think the one thing that people are sort of divisive over would be the zombie baby. Because, shortly after they get to the mall, I think they all sort of pick a store to sort of live behind. And Mekhi Phifer and his wife choose like this baby store. And I don't know how, I don't remember her getting bitten, but she's like strapped to the bed Exorcist style. She's giving birth, but she like dies. But then when she comes back, she's still giving birth. And this one woman comes in to check on her, and he has the zombie baby. So she naturally goes to shoot her, and then Mekhi Phifer shoots the woman. And yeah, the zombie baby's very CGI, because I guess you can't put latex on a baby. I don't know. I mean, it kind of looks cool. I mean, I'm kind of mixed on that. Not because this offends me, like, how dare you do that to a baby? Fuck that. I don't give a shit about that. I guess it's like the logic behind it. But yeah, this is just a kick-ass fucking I almost said sequel, remake. And a lot of people liked it. I mean, this came out, I think, around like season 11 of South Park. The parody is season 11. There's the episode of Night of the Living Homeless, which is sort of a parody of a bunch of different zombie movies like Return of the Living Dead. But the main thing, like Randy and some of the parents are up on the roof of the community center. The boys reinforce these buses. So it is very much like this movie because Trey and Matt loved this movie. You also have good cameos. I was watching this last night. There's like this TV evangelist on the TV they're watching, played by Ken Foree, who delivers his "When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth" line. Another thing they're watching, Tom Savini is a cop who talks about shooting him in the head. And I could have swore the news guy that interviews Tom Savini is Bruce Campbell. I could be wrong. I looked it up. I couldn't find it. But I could have swore that was Bruce Campbell. If so, then that's the coolest like roster of cameos ever. But yeah, this movie's just kick-ass. It's definitely more action-packed than the original. Definitely more Hollywood action. The only thing I can say about it is the color of the film is kind of ugly. It's kind of, you know, you definitely see it in the beginning when she goes outside of her house and sees the initial chaos. Because, like, her skin is almost orange and the grass is extremely green. Just very fluorescent, like, filters or whatever kind of filters they're using. So it is kind of, like, the color filtering is kind of ugly. But after a while, you don't notice it. I mean, just the zombies are so awesome. It's like everything that like a 28 Days Later zombie does, but I guess made in such a way that the undead fans can like it. I was gonna say it's very humorous too. It's not humorous like pies in the face like the original. And it's weird saying that because Zack Snyder doesn't really make humorous movies. I mean, just look what he did to Superman. But the screenplay was by James Gunn, who has done a lot of work for the Marvel films, which are very humorous, so I'm told. So, and none of the humor is really cheesy. Like it, I mean, some of it I guess can be, but a lot of it is like actually funny. Like they're all running from zombies and they get in the elevator, and that one security guard, CJ, is just like, he hears the elevator music and he's like, I like this song. Or they're all sitting there having dinner and they're talking about worst job you've ever had, and this one guy's like, tell you the one I was the worst at, being a husband. And someone says, that's not a job, and the redneck guy's like, it sure is. Or like in the background, out of focus, so you can't really see him. Ty Burrel says something, and this other girl's like, can you be any more of an asshole? And he's like, I think so, but you know what, that's not the point. So it does have a touch of humor, plenty of action, just very kick-ass movie. I mean, I'm glad that they didn't try to recreate, you know, Flyboy, Peter, or Roger, or Fran. Which actually, speaking of Fran, during the montage, Ty Burrell's girlfriend is in like a Victoria's Secret type store. And you see the name of the store is Galen Ross, which is the name of the actress who played Fran in the original. So this movie definitely pays respects to its source material while being able to stand on its own as its own movie. But yeah, Dawn of the Dead. This is probably my second favorite remake of all time. I don't have a lot of favorites. I do have a top three. For a while, this was my favorite. But now actually, I'm not going to say what my number one is now. I want you guys to like me for a little bit longer. Yeah, this is my favorite, my second favorite remake. It's just, I'm really, all it needed was the mall. That's all it needed. And they were smart enough to do just that. So yeah, other than the sort of weird color filters, just everything about, and maybe the zombie baby, don't really know. Everything about this movie works. It's fun, it's intense, it's got plenty of blood and stuff. Characters are likable and relatable. You care about them, and there's plenty of carnage. And he does a good job at making it feel like, yeah, the shit's going on everywhere. Not like automaton transfusion where, everything's fine, then they drive somewhere and it's like, it's all over the world. Yeah, the movie sucks. But anyway, Dawn of the Dead remake, one of the few diamonds in the rough when it comes to horror remakes. Great fucking movie. It's awesome. It's kick-ass. Entertaining as all hell. Dawn of the Dead is great. So for Room 237, thank you for watching.